Good morning everybody and welcome back to VG Myths, the online internet video game TV show that is the wrench in the works. With wrench-only runs of Ratchets 1, 2, 3, 4, and the bad one done, we've finally reached the future. The rules should be extremely familiar. We're trying to beat the game from a fresh save file without ever firing any weapon listed in the weapons menu, thus forcing us to fight using only Ratchet's melee weapon, the wrench. Gadgets, none of which have direct combat capability, are fully allowed. Additionally, there's a third category new to this game to consider: devices. Unlike gadgets, these are explicitly intended for combat, most of them dealing direct damage. For the purposes of this challenge, devices are completely banned. There will be no semantics. If we want to murder, we've gotta do it with the wrench. With the rules set and our singular tool locked and loaded, can you beat Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction with only the wrench?
No, I can't, Miss Gamer Champ. I am too lame to be bad at video games. I'm going to go watch a different video on this hip new website, www.youtube.com.
www.youtube.com? What a coincidence! This video just so happens to be sponsored by obscure website www.youtube.com's premium subscription service, YouTube Premium. Have you ever watched a YouTube video and there was an advertisement? With YouTube Premium, you cannot watch advertisement. In fact, I deliberately design my videos to be best viewed without advertisements for substantially lazy reasons. If you're not watching with YouTube Premium, you're literally watching this video wrong. But that's not all. Whenever I'm being bad at mobile games, I make use of the queuing and background play features, loading up obscure and terrible YouTuber GamerChamp3000 so I can suck at video games while she sucks at video games. And when I'm out grabbing a latte, I pull up the premium YouTube Music app so I can listen to the entire Pretty Cure Splash Star soundtrack while sipping. You also get the ability to download videos so you can watch them offline, and the ability to continue watching videos from the same point on different devices. It's also worth noting that by watching videos with YouTube Premium, you're actually supporting creators more than you would be if you'd been watching with ads, since a portion of the subscription cost goes to the creators you watch. Like me! I'm one of those! If you'd like to try it out, I've got an affiliate link in the description which will give you a special 2-month extended free trial. If you subscribe through the affiliate link, I may get a commission.
Wow, now that I have YouTube Premium, I am not lame anymore and am fully prepared for terrible video game challenge runs. Let's give that wrench-only video a second try.
Heading into the tutorial, the game will make a polite request.
Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon.
Respond with your favorite finger and get reacquainted with your moveset. You've got a basic 3-hit melee combo, the extra strong mid-air hyper strike, and the move you'll be using most often, a crouching boomerang wrench throw, our only ranged attack. When you reach the aim mode tutorial, you'll discover there's one gigantic change. Ratchet is no longer capable of throwing the wrench while aiming, thus making it impossible to wrench enemies that are too far above for a hyperstrike. The tutorial enemy is fully optional, so we won't have to worry about that for now. And in fact, combat is going to be pretty easy for a while. The game is very definitely pulling its punches. I will note, on planet Kabalia, you'll find 3 Leviathans, who you can make short work of with the Hyperstrike's deceptively high range. When Leviathans die, Ratchet will commit several unforgivable sins by gaining possession of their souls. The smuggler buys Leviathan souls for 2,000 volts. Don't give in to the temptation. This seemingly upstanding individual is, in fact, a ne'er-do-well. You'll be glad you turned him down. We'll also get a new gadget here, the Gelinator, which spawns platforms letting you do ultra-high jumps. Unfortunately, it can only be used in highly specific dev-sanctioned areas, locking the door behind you unless you give up your gel. You can forget about bouncy shenanigans. Before departing, you should have just barely enough bolts to buy your first armor upgrade. I personally opted out since I wasn't sure whether or not you could skip armor in this game. In fact, I'm still not sure because by the time I bothered, I was too rich to care. Trust me, later in the game, bolts are a complete non-issue. Just buy this thing now. Next is Planet Kortog, where we'll meet shielded enemies. They're completely immune to the wrench from the front and are fully aware they'll die if you get a glimpse of their back. Luckily, Gadgetron has some useful advice.
Gadgetron admires your persistence, but feels compelled to inform you that your currently selected weapon is ineffective against shielded enemies. Try a stronger weapon.
Respond with your favorite bird and show these guys your own backside. Most of the combat on Kortog, and in fact in most of the game, is completely optional. At the end of the Hall of Knowledge path, we'll drop into a completely sealed battle with half a dozen shield guys. The game will only advance when every enemy in this encounter is dead. The wrench throw acts as a boomerang, hurting enemies both on the throw and the return. With a precisely aimed throw, you can miss the enemy's shields, then lead the wrench into wrapping back into them. This is more annoying than it looks. Ratchet's wrench throw comes with a generous degree of mandatory auto-aim, helpfully forcing the wrench into the shield unless you deliberately aim way off target. After the shield guys, we have to contend with the hoverbot outside the broken window, which is gonna take some doing. Even though the window is broken and projectiles can travel through, it's still partially functional as a wall, preventing Ratchet from jumping onto the balcony. The hoverbot is also absolutely too far away to hit with hyperstrikes. If we could throw the wrench in aim mode, this would be no issue, but since that's been patched out, we're completely out of options with our base moveset. Gosh, if only we had something to stand on. You might have noticed I sneakily included some footage earlier of Ratchet using the Gelinator. This gel is available in a completely open, uncontained area. Kortog is a bit of a special planet. The moment you fill the Gelinator with gel, it's available to use anywhere on Kortog. It's even intended by the devs for the player to use it way out of the way from the dedicated Gelinator platforming course for a gold bolt in the Hall of Knowledge. With the Gelinator available, we can use it as a slightly less dev-intended high chair for Ratchet, boosting him up enough to throw his wrench out the window and successfully whack the hoverbot. There's another batch of the same enemies after who can be dispatched in the same manner to move on to Planet Fastoon. We play as Clank here, who doesn't even have weapons, and extra luckily, he won't even have to get his wrenches dirty. Clank's sections are built around escorting Zoni, who are automatically hostile, brutally murdering anybody they see without any input from Clank. Except this guy I found. They don't seem to mind him at all. Which is good. He's a cool guy. Look how excited he is to be here. By the way, random fun fact. The goal to advance the story on this planet is to find 6 ship components scattered around. Every time you grab one, it does a cutscene. But just before said cutscene, you might notice something poking up on the bottom left corner of the screen, which disappears when the cutscene starts and isn't present after. I was incredibly curious and used the magic of freeze frame technology to see what near zero players ever would. It's a counter telling you how many ship components you found. This is visible for about 10 frames, or 1/6 a second, making it basically impossible to read unless you're already staring at that section of the screen in advance. This has nothing to do with the run, I just think it's kinda silly. Once all the parts are collected, you can leave Fastoon and move on to the Voron Asteroid Belt, an on-rails shmup minigame. While shooting here is completely legal for the main challenge, I can't resist going for a bonus challenge. Let's see if we can get through without shooting. Mindlessly swirling around the screen does wonders, so the actual ship flying parts are no issue. Partway through though, Clank gets on a turret with absolutely no movement capability whatsoever. Sorry, but in this section you obviously have no choice but to sit back and drink a latte. The game will quickly realize you're boring and give the controller back to Ratchet. After a little more swirling, you'll reach a boss who must be killed to proceed and thus very clearly definitely actually fails the bonus challenge before it even started. On Planet Moo Cow, before heading to the Fight Festival, you can and should take a side path to obtain the optional charge boots. Like in prior games, these make you move way faster as long as you have a good stretch of open space in front of you. These are generally useful most of the time and will be particularly important later. When we actually enter the Fight Festival, we stop playing as Ratchet and pass the wrench over to his friend, Mustachio Furioso. The main arena battle is trivial. After, we hit a checkpoint and have to battle a giant fish. This guy is absolutely not designed to be fought with the wrench, taking near zero damage from it. Killing him with just wrench throws will take forever. To speed things up, when he shoots missiles, run up to his face and space out your button presses to do single-hit wrench combos. The full combo would leave you vulnerable with its wind down, but the first hit has no such vulnerability and can be spammed while walking at almost full speed. Once the bar is fully drained, congratulate Mustachio, take back the wrench, and move on to the next level, the Apogee Space Station. The smuggler wants us to commit several more unforgivable sins by selling him 3 Leviathan souls in exchange for entrance to the space station, and golly gee, look at that, we already have 3 Leviathan souls. Hypothetically, if you earlier already commit those sins in exchange for completely useless cash, you wouldn't be out of luck. There are a few of the same Leviathans out here who are absolutely killable with the wrench. The catch is, this time they hang out over bottomless pits and almost never fly over solid ground except when they're trying to murder you, which isn't a very good time to get close. Just to see if I could, I did try to kill one of them, and I can confirm that it is both possible and stupid. Combat is gonna get tricky in the station proper. There's a lot of enemies to mow down and not that many nanotech boxes laying around to heal. But while I was here, I accidentally discovered an extremely easily exploitable loophole. If Ratchet talks to a vendor while missing health, they automatically heal him to full HP for free. There doesn't seem to be any limit to this. If you're low on health and the game didn't see fit to block the path behind you, you can backtrack to the closest vendor. This cheese will come particularly handy in this battle against 2 lines of turrets with a vendor conveniently located out of their reach. The small hallway immediately after has a less cheesable problem, a turret located on the ceiling. This singular turret must be defeated to open the door forward. It's clearly way too high up for a grounded wrench throw, hyper strikes don't appear to have any effect no matter how close I get, and gel for the gelinator is nowhere to be found. This seemingly seals off all our options, making the turret completely impossible to hit with the wrench. But hold on one second, there's still another technique we haven't tried yet, one which we've already used earlier in the run. Remember, the wrench, when thrown, deals damage both on the throw and the return trip. That return trip will always be done directly toward Ratchet, no matter what direction Ratchet happens to be in. If you throw the wrench and jump, then bam, you've got a mid-air wrench. This unfortunately still isn't quite enough with a basic jump. Ratchet doesn't go high enough fast enough. We'll need a crouching thruster pack jump. But there's yet another problem. Both the wrench throw and the thruster pack jump are performed by crouching. The game refuses to allow Ratchet to perform a thruster jump immediately after a wrench throw. He'll just do a vanilla jump instead. This wonky little problem has a very wonky little solution. If, after throwing the wrench, Ratchet wiggles around a little, his status of being in the middle of a wrench throw will be overwritten, putting him in a standard walking state. This eliminates the conflict, allowing us to do the thruster jump we need. It also makes an already difficult precisely timed trick 10 times as annoying, and we haven't even yet considered that all of this is to attack a turret. You know, the kind that tends to shoot you in ways that cause you to be dead. To even have a chance to perform the ultimate ultra boomerang wiggle jump, we'll need to not die. This is where the charge boots come in. If Ratchet moves far enough away from the turret, it will exit aggro mode and retract back into the ceiling. Using the charge boots, we can get ourselves in range at omega speed, in time to perform the trick before it can come back out of the ceiling and rev itself up to fire. Put it all together and we can, in fact, deal damage to this thing in way longer time than it probably took Insomniac to plop it down. The rest of the space station can be easily cleared with baby strats, as well as the preceding planet Ardolus. I went for the bonus challenge once again in the second shmup section, the Rycon Star Cluster, and once again you can sip a latte all the way up until the boss forces a bonus challenge fail. On Rycon 5, there's a particularly huge sequence of battles which hypothetically would be super difficult, but not only do we have the vendor to rely on, we have two friendly NPCs on our side, Kronk and Zephyr. The vast majority of enemies have absolutely no common sense and choose Kronk and Zephyr as their primary target, saving Ratchet for after they're dead. Kronk and Zephyr are immortal, so this is a particularly bold strategy. Kronk and Zephyr also just so happen to have guns, which are actually genuinely capable of dealing decent damage. Feel free to sit back and drink a latte until the war works itself out. After, buy the newly available Helios armor, take part in an incredible, mind-blowing demonstration of the PS3's next-gen analog stick technology, and leave for a short trek on planet Sargasso. We'll once again need to commit several unforgivable sins to trade for a plot-necessary gadget, but these Leviathans are on solid ground and entirely killable with simple wrench strats. Also, I'm not sure if something wonky happened, but I managed to get one soul totally free. Two Leviathans are in the same arena, and one of them straight up disintegrated while they were walking into each other. I can only guess they're friendly fire capable and way better at killing each other than I am. Since Ratchet clearly doesn't need the wrench on this hunting trip, he hands it over to his friend Mustachio Furioso, back at the arena for another gauntlet. The boss of this gauntlet is a giant menacing energy creature of some sort, who unfortunately is legally electric. Any attempt to melee an electric enemy will result in Mustachio taking damage instead. Wrench throws are our only option, and they're not much of an option. A giant menacing energy creature of some sort hovers in the air most of the time, only going low enough for the wrench for a brief moment after its spinning attack. Since it only does the attack once every 30 seconds or so, this battle is gonna take roughly 50,000 years to beat, while flawlessly avoiding all damage. Luckily, I'm bad at video games. After taking an early hit, I jumped into the lava to quickly die painfully and horribly so I could reset with full health, and discovered an important fact about a giant menacing energy creature of some sort. It's even worse at video games than I am. On a reattempt, hug the outside of the arena, and within a few seconds, a giant menacing energy creature of some sort will stumble into the lava and instantly explode. With Mustachio Furioso somehow proven the greatest warrior in the universe, throw the wrench back to Ratchet on the Creely Comet. Here, there's an incredibly easy fight against an incredibly pathetic boss, who will never even attack you as long as you keep hyperstriking around in a circle. A bit down the path is a battle against several turrets and a ton of melee pirates, including ones carrying shields. Run to take out the turrets first, then to this precise spot, and politely explain to the pirates that they're being particularly excessively rude. Convinced of their breach of the pirate code, they'll form a single file line and walk the plank. The next boss is a rematch with the guy we fought earlier, who's clearly learned from his failures and now hangs above a pit. The rock next to him technically gives us enough height to throw the wrench, but only just barely, and he's shooting explosives to make it as tedious as possible. Thankfully, there's no reason to bother. All beating this guy actually does is permit use of the geolaser gadget to blow up the icicles on the right side. Blowing up the icicles is 100% optional. There's absolutely nothing stopping you from shimmying around the side. Having none of it, the same guy will show up again at the end of the level, so enraged he forgets to hang over a pit again and thus fails pathetically. The next stop is Planet Viceron's Sordum Prison, which poses no major threat. There's a battle against some hovering enemies that look like they'd be out of range at first glance, but they hover just slightly close enough to be hyperstriked. Now we head into the third and final shmup section at the Verdigris Black Hole. This will be the greatest test of the bonus challenge. There are a ton of obstacles along the way, with hitboxes so giant several are absolutely impossible to dodge, even if you don't visibly touch them. I personally had good luck with the icicles by hugging the top right corner of the screen. There's a Clank turret section after, but no worries, a health refill is located directly before, which refills more health than you'll end up losing. As long as you don't deliberately avoid the health refill, it is literally impossible to die. After Clank sips a sufficiently sized latte, you'll arrive at the boss to anticlimactically fail the bonus challenge 3 times over. Off to Kirchu City on planet Jendu. Once again, you should have an easy time combining all the strategies we've seen so far, up until the giant robot boss fight. Phase 1 begins with us on an upside-down railing with the boss in the center. The boss unfortunately seems to be completely outside the wrench's range, no matter what angle I tried to attack from. There is, however, one particular moment a piece of the boss moves in range. When it slams its wrecking ball fist against the railing, you have just barely enough time to dodge the shockwave and hit the fist with the wrench, which does indeed deal an astronomically small amount of damage. Don't get your hopes up yet though, there's a problem with this strategy. It's super dumb. Phase 1 is actually completely optional. If you jump off the railing, gravity will normalize and skip you to Phase 2 instantly. Down here, we can hit the treads with wrench throws for the same damage way faster. While doing this, I found a trick to speed things up. Certain large enemies, including this boss, bounce the wrench back to Ratchet on contact. That functionally means the closer Ratchet gets, the faster he can throw the wrench, doing upwards of a dozen throws in the time it would normally take to do 2 or 3. Just be careful not to get too close, since within a certain distance, Ratchet will refuse to throw the wrench at all. While spamming throws, you'll have to keep your eyes out for the boss's shockwave attack. The ball Kirchu, meanwhile, are completely harmless. You can see them coming from a mile away. Just kidding, they can phase through solid matter. Keep your ears out for the Kirchu's rolling sound, sidestepping in advance in case they abuse noclip. As long as you're careful, it's only a matter of time before the boss's health bar reaches 0. Next stop, Slag's fleet in Ooblik Passage. Almost immediately, we head into a circular arena with an old friend itching for revenge. This time, hitting him at all is basically impossible. The only platforms that look like they might potentially be close enough for a wrench throw are all breakable. We can technically stand on them, but the boss will absolutely definitely blow them up right after. Luckily, similar to last time, all killing this guy does is extend a bridge leading to the next chunk of level on the outer ring. We start the level on the opposite side of this outer ring. I'm sure you see where this is going. Insomniac made absolutely no effort to prevent the player from walking on the inner ledges. Equip the helipack for its slower, further-reaching crouch jumps, hop around to the opposite side, and deny the most pathetic pirate in the universe his last chance at happiness. Instantly after is a pseudo-boss battle against multiple airships. There are 3 ships, and all 3 turrets on all 3 ships must be destroyed to continue. The thin ledge of our own ship is just barely legally solid ground, and just barely close enough to hit even the furthest turrets while they're at their lowest point. Carefully inch yourself on the ledge and throw the wrench a few times before retreating from the incoming barrage. After suffering 2 ships, the third and final ship will give you a break. All 3 turrets are close enough to be hit without jumping on the ledge, making for a 10 times faster clear. Finally, we take on Captain Slag himself, who clearly did not earn his position based on his swashbuckling skill. If you get close to him, which you should since that's the fastest way to hurt him, he'll only use his super slow and obviously telegraphed short-ranged attacks. Shove him in Davy Jones' locker and enter the endgame at the Kite Ruins on Planet Reaper. This is the absolute easiest wrench-only endgame in the franchise. enemies. Talwyn, Kronk, and Zephyr act as your allies for a big chunk of these final levels, meaning the only strat necessary is latte. You're gonna need a really big latte. While sipping, I found a fun little glitch. Talwyn's ship can be found parked behind Ratchet's. For whatever reason, if Ratchet stands on top, he loses the ability to change the direction he's facing, essentially forcing him into a weirdo strafewalk. It's also worth noting that letting Talwyn and friends fight this battle for you isn't just a lazy cheese trick, it's objectively the correct strategy. Within this arena is a jackpot crate, which temporarily doubles all collected bolts. Since we haven't been running around this arena, we haven't collected any of the many defeated enemies' bolts yet, which are now all ours for the taking within the short jackpot window. They're not actually visible for some reason, but sure enough, after bonking one of the defeated Drawfids, 30,000 bucks teleported into my wallet. Unfortunately, after they're all dead and you run through the first building, yet another giant mob of enemies will spawn and must be defeated before you can enter the second, and a third giant mob will show up after that one. In between Picross puzzles, I discovered there's an armor vendor back here, stocked with the final upgrade available before New Game Plus, the Terraflux armor. This will drastically improve our caffeine intake. The second half of the level will be way faster thanks to our allies abandoning us, leaving us with no choice but to play the game. Nevertheless, no new strats will be necessary here or on the next two planets, so let's fast forward. The only obstacle left is the final boss battle against Emperor Tachon. Phase 1 gives hope that this might be the easiest final boss yet. Tachon is completely incapable of hitting you so long as you make a leisurely jaunt around the edge of the arena. Meanwhile, Talwyn and friends will be draining his health bar. But then he enters Phase 2, teleporting us into another dimension where our allies' bullets can't reach. In Phase 2, he cycles through 3 attacks in order. A jump to your position resulting in a giant shockwave, a series of meteor barrages, and a group of 4 explosive spider bots that attempt to walk into you. You won't have to worry much about the spider bots or the shockwave. The meteors will always be aimed at your expected position at the time they're thrown, so you can easily dodge them by changing direction. Additionally, Tachon stalls in place while aiming the meteors to give you a big damage dealing opportunity. Spam close-range wrench throws, wriggle away from the meteors at the last second, and repeat. Phase 3 isn't so simple. He adds in a homing laser, which acts under the same logic as the meteors and is normally easy to lead away from you, but he combines it with a near-infinite barrage of missiles. Some missiles act as direct projectiles, while others will launch into the ground as an explosive hazard. I do not have a strategy to dodge this insanity. From now on, consider your health bar a time limit. I hope you didn't take any hits yet, you're gonna need all you can get. Take every opportunity to spam the wrench as fast as you can, until either you get hit or the laser shows up. When things get just a little bit too hectic, charge boot away. You won't be completely safe at far range, but your odds of survival go up as you look for an opportunity in between barrages. Important note, you can use hyperstrikes to interrupt the laser. It won't help with the missiles, but may give you the opportunity you need to unscrew Tachon once and for all. With Ratchet toppling an empire using the only tool of destruction he needs, the Ratchet Clank Future Tools of Destruction wrench-only run is mission complete. Special thanks to all Patreon backers, including Anon42, Leslam, Salty Sweet, Ren, Alex Nelson, Vincent Hall. Can you say hi to Crustacean Creep for me? Sure, hi Crustacean Creep, Crustacean Creep. Evil Game Champ is like Bad Evening Nobody and Unwelcome Forward to WH Facts, the offline on-paper board game movie. Nathaniel Kalita, Jor. Brickface says, you think changing the vocal tier can stop my love and support? Arcombe, Thoas Game of Chess Black, Waiting on White, now I only want to triumph. Attempted wholesomeness. Plesiosaurs may have given live birth to well-developed babies and were attentive parents who lived in pods. Literal Cat, Mint Leaf Winged Catgirl is gay and doesn't go to bed on time. We blog if you two are gay and or don't go to bed on time. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This list of names was brought to you by viewers like me. Doodlesack12, Trish Handler, Rob Jackson's words of wisdom for this week: you save your game, you save your life. F. Amadon, Darknet, frequently a doofus, occasionally an idiot, always a fool. Brisky, Ian Beck, Biohazard. Hey, is anyone missing an underscore? I found one under the rug. Fluff System, Chris Gooslin, Chloe Shuret, Rasp Barrel, Arsonist Cat, Sorio99, Cody Merchant Madison, Touchtone Banana Phone, Landford Woolganiel, Goguri Trums, Rob Williant, Cilio Go Go Coach. Kaiser says, please don't forget to look after your physical, mental, and emotional health while gaming, speedrunning, and challenge. Everyone's favorite clan ghost bear McWarrior, Aurelia, Moomin Biscuit, translates her human rights. Fella, Ken of Red Lions, a shapeshifting mass of cinders and ash, Morgan, Duna Nix, Getsugaru, Love Story Gaming TTV, Frilly Lily, Celica, Teheka, Calzini, Austin Games, Flame Solus, Macaroni Cat personally endorses running away like a little sissy baby, Harry Stovall, Autistic Yu-Gi-Oh, Neo Sandman 4040, Spartan Style. Hailerin wants to know where the Luigi fanfiction is, Game Champ, Jinx Shadow. Random Internet Cat is a random cat on the internet and should not under any circumstances be trusted to do non-cat things. Kimberly, the Gaming Bee, finally started HRT. Daybreak, the Auroran Goddess, an overambitious dumbass. Install Homebrew on 3DS all you want, Nintendo can never truly kill it. Nicole, the Gamer Girl, and Gamer Girl, Transient Faye, Tourbit, Gaming Medic, Zeta is pretty invalid, Zentil, Joshua Bennett, Lonely Agent J, Mind Planet 84, Halo Lucky, Captain Skelly, Fictional Breach, Valkyrie Kane and Skullduggery Pleasant, Starfish at Large, Hydramian, Ella, Vanellian, Wayne Monot. I have run out of space for my joke about the Emerald Splash and now I am very, very sad. Shadowfox0002, Johnny Von Tungle, CK the Penguin supports Miss Champ and states that trans rights are human rights. Eden Osp, the half-dragon, half-witch with half a mind, half-ass, half of this name. Undersea Rexy VT, Penny Collector 1, Tim Tam Toe Jam, Stop Sign EX, Alexander Soria, Corporal High, Detective Geo, Zytra, but this time I'm making you remember how you pronounced it last time. No easy mode this time, the Arushalay Table Building Society, Cassie Racuna. Negative 3000 P-Mach Mage, I know we've had our differences, but I have to donate for SMW Coinless. Smelly Melly, Quagsire is the best Pokemon. This is not a patron name, this is me, GamerChamp3000, genuinely stating the truth. AwesoMan9001 is really bad at changing names for videos. Alizard, Paul Morton, K, Winnie Bagel, Emma Not Emma, all of the names on the right side of GameChamp's screen. Eris, Harmonious Nature, a Warlock of Unimaginable Power, Pumaloaf, the Cat-Loafing Puma, Georgie Lubinoff, Squid Gazette, February Me, Tony Ganj, Fake Tokafan, Jetstream Jackie wants you to know that her cat Goggles is both fluffy and gay, Remilia Simoris, Amber like the resin but without mosquitoes please, Zerixan, the A rank with Yoshi no one can achieve, Bluebee, Thoofer My Howard, Lucy Gracer, Lurker Below, Saint Lesbian and Silly World, 90 Nighttime, Lodestar your #1 fan, Chowder Emily Evans, the Fire Gullet by Thundaza, Reed Thin and immune to Blizzara but not Blizzaga, V-Man 6785, Gabe Astich, Fujoshi Urinal, Scott Pompeo. They're called Transformers, not Cisformers. Rhea, the God of Fate, but in a different reality. Lula Lockhart likes literation. Psyche Clips. Alice, I'm madly in love with you. Ferris V5, Azure Llama, Boopleals, Quack Bunches Heavens, Danisaur, Teriyaki, Junma, Trans Rights, Cis Lefts, and non-binary middles. Queen Snew, the dog cat possum girl thing, is very good at gender and just might steal yours in the dead of night. Even rats need to take a nap sometimes. Trans Xanax Princess Juno says no, Pac-Man, drugs are bad. The other 2,999 game champs in the basement, Tyler Beauregard, Yamersa Bella, and Goro Akechi of the Justice Arcana. Let me know how much this video sucks and how to improve in the comments below. Press the fire button to use your currently selected weapon and get out of my house.